What does $299 get you when you buy the Motorola Moto G Stylus 2021? Well, in this video, we're gonna find out. What's up guys, Kalipis Tech here, coming back at you with another video. In this video, we're gonna be taking a look at what kind of value you get with the Motorola Moto G Stylus 2021. So let's get into it. Now this phone has a 6.8 inch IPS LCD display with a resolution of 1080p, a PPI of 386, an aspect ratio of 20:9, and a screen to body ratio of 84.8%. We got a hole punch up here for the front facing camera, and this camera is 16 megapixels. Right now I do have the brightness at 100%, and I would say this display looks really good. The 1080p resolution is going to be really nice for viewing photos and doing that sort of thing. And at 6.8 inches, this display is definitely on the larger side, about the same display size as the Samsung Galaxy A72, which I also think is a really big phone. You're gonna have a really good experience with content consumption in general. Whether you're watching a video, playing a game, or even reading, having a larger display is going to help with all of that, since you'll be able to see the small details a lot better. And the phone has really thin bezels too, which I like a lot. It adds to the look of the phone, making it feel really modern. And at the same time, not only are the bezels thin, but the design of the phone is really slim overall. And on the back here, we got a nice looking, pretty unique glossy material. And even though it is a glossy material, as you can see in this lighting, it doesn't pick up fingerprints nearly as badly as some of the other phones with the similar texture. For storage, we're getting 128 gigabytes of internal storage with microSD card expansion. So that really is a lot. For the average user, you're not going to even come close to using up all this storage. You would need a lot of apps or a lot of photos and videos, in which case you can put all that on a microSD card instead. So you're gonna be real good as far as that goes. And if you're more of a power user, you're gonna be perfectly fine too, because even if you have a ton of larger apps that take up a lot of space, again, you can store your photos and videos on a microSD card, which makes it a lot easier to hold more on it. This microSD card expansion can go up to 512 gigabytes, and at half a terabyte, you're probably not going to run out of space anytime soon. Now there's no wireless charging with this phone, unfortunately, so if that is a feature that's important to you, definitely keep that in mind. But we do have a fingerprint scanner right here on the power button, which is a real good spot for it. Since you're going to be touching your power button to wake up the display anyway, it's nice for it to just unlock, because then you're gonna be able to get into your phone even faster. And as you can see right here, this phone also has face unlock. It's nice to have both options in case you prefer one over the other. And even if it doesn't matter to you, you're still gonna have two options. So if one's not working out in whatever situation you're in, the other is probably gonna work instead. We're gonna give this fingerprint scanner a try. There we go, one more time. And there we go. As you can see, this fingerprint scanner is not only placed in a really convenient spot, but it's also really fast and responsive, so you're not going to have any trouble unlocking your phone. Now taking a look at the rear camera setup here, we do have a quad camera setup with a 48 megapixel rear camera, an 8 megapixel ultra wide camera, a 2 megapixel macro camera, and a 2 megapixel depth sensing camera. So real good stuff. You're going to be able to take really high quality pictures, and the ultra wide camera is especially impressive to me because it's actually an 8 megapixel ultra wide camera. Usually in this price range, you're going to see an ultra wide camera around 5 megapixels, and some phones actually don't even have one. And with all of the different uses for this type of camera, it's really nice that you get one with this phone. As far as video goes, this phone can shoot 4K in the rear camera and 1080p videos in the front. So if you do want a phone that's capable of shooting 4K videos, this is going to provide a lot of value. If you are shooting lots of videos in general, and they don't have to be top cinematic quality, they just have to be really good quality that you can shoot on a smartphone, then this phone is going to be really good for that. Overall, I'm really impressed by this phone's camera setup. I would say if you're more of a heavy camera user, you're probably going to be satisfied with this phone's camera because it has not only nice features, but the quality is really good too. Internally, the Motorola Moto G Stylus 2021 is getting 4 GB of RAM with the Qualcomm Snapdragon 678 processor. I ran a Geekbench 5 benchmark test on this phone and it came back with a single core score of 538 and a multi-core score of 1588. So definitely not bad at all. You're going to be able to do all your basic activities like sending text messages and making calls, browsing the web, going on social media. All that stuff is going to be so effortless on this phone that it's not even a question. You're not going to have any problem with it. Then when you get into the more intense things like gaming and photo and video editing, most of that stuff is going to be really good, with the exception, I would say, of a really high performance game like Fortnite, for example. But other than that, mobile gaming on this phone is going to be really good. And video editing, as long as it's not with super large files, should be pretty easy as well. Basically, your more moderate activities. And it's going to be able to do some more high-end stuff too. Maybe not as well as a flagship phone, but if you're looking for a device that has the processing power to do pretty much anything you would normally need to do, then this phone is a really good option. For the battery, this phone has a 4000 milliamp hour battery that supports 10 watt fast charging, so that's really good. This phone's gonna get a lot of battery life, maybe not the highest. There are plenty of phones in this price range above and below with 5000 milliamp hour batteries, but compared to a lot of other higher end phones, this battery is actually pretty good. For example, the iPhone 12 actually has a 2815 milliamp hour battery, so the Motorola Moto G Stylus 2021 actually has a much larger battery than a brand new iPhone 12, which is a lot more expensive than this phone is. So that really gives you an idea of how good this phone's battery is for what you're getting. It's definitely not bad. And being compatible with fast charging really helps too. If you're more in a hurry and want to charge up your phone faster, then this is really going to come in handy. Now in conclusion, is this phone worth its price? I would definitely say so. It has a lot of really nice features. $299 is definitely in the mid-range as far as smartphones go. And there are lots of phones that are just a tiny bit below this phone's price range. They aren't anywhere near as good. They have so much less processing power, not nearly as many features, and usually they end up with 720p displays instead of 1080p. Honestly, this phone is more comparable to a lot of phones above its price range. For example, the Samsung Galaxy A72, I would say this phone is definitely really comparable to that. And as the name implies, the Motorola Moto G Stylus 2021 does have a stylus, and you don't find very many phones that actually have a stylus that aren't either super expensive or super low quality. This phone is one of the better ones with that feature for sure, so that's another thing to keep in mind. But in general, if you're looking for a mid-level phone that has a lot of really nice features that you would usually find in higher end phones, then the Motorola Moto G Stylus 2021 is going to be a really good option. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, be sure to leave a thumbs up and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.